Good evening, saints and ain'ts, and welcome to Life Class tonight. We are here again for Life Class, another session, another time to come together and learn something that we may not have known before. So, let someone know that we are in Life Class tonight. Call them, text them, share this experience, like it, even if you don't like it, and let someone know that we are in Life Class tonight. All right. Thank you all for being here tonight. You guys, you know how this works. All right. We'll be here for the next hour or so talking about something that's going to enhance your life and hopefully your experiences. So, like I said, let someone know we're in Life Class tonight. We aren't in Bible class tonight, but we are in Life Class. So come on in so we can learn together this evening. Alrighty, let us begin with a word of prayer, and then we will introduce our guest for this evening. Alrighty, let's pray. Father God, in the name of Jesus, God, we thank you for your goodness, your mercy, and your kindness. God, we thank you for this day, for this time together again, for just bringing us to another Life Class session. We ask that you allow us to glean what you have for us tonight. It is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. So we are in Life Class, and I want to first off thank you for being here. I want to thank our leaders for allowing us to have this platform, our bishop and our first lady, and our newly appointed church mother, Mother Raymond. We love Mother Raymond. And so thank each and every one of you for being here for Life Class tonight. We have a very practical subject tonight, okay? It's not deep. It's not, any of those things. It's very practical. But I don't want you to leave, because I do believe that you are going to learn something tonight, and it's going to make all of us better. All right. So I want to start by introducing our guest. Our guest tonight is she's a registered nurse. She's a mother. She's a wife. She is all of the things. She does accents, but she won't tell anybody that in public, but she does do accents. Don't ask her to do one, because she won't do it on call. She has to feel it. She's also my first cousin and one of my best friends in the whole wide world. Y'all welcome Roshanda Henderson. Give it up. Nurse got a body. Hey, she's got her scrubs on and her head piece. What do you call it?
My surgical cap.
Your surgical cap. Come on, surgical cap. So listen, before we get into Would You Rather, okay, I want you to take like 2 minutes, okay, and brag on. I joined a prophetic room, and they spend the first few minutes calling that time brag on God, where they tell people, like, tell your testimony, brag on God. But I want you to take 2 minutes and brag on yourself. I want you to tell the people what it is you do every single day when you go in that hospital and you help bring life into this world. I want you to describe in like 2 minutes what it is that you do every day.
So currently, I've done several specialties, but currently I am a labor and delivery nurse. That's my goal. It's just amazing to be in labor and delivery and meet and greet families, new moms, seasoned moms that are coming, for the birth of their child. To be there for that. I had a couple of deliveries today, and it's just so exciting. And to see people cry, like, I try to hold back my tears, but for the most part, labor and delivery is very joyous. You do have, some unfortunate cases, but I will say 90% of it is it's a joyous occasion. Most people are excited. We see happy, and I'm just grateful to be a part of that. Again, having done so many other specialties. This by far one of my favorite. Women's health in general. We have a lot of disparities when it comes to that. That's a whole nother other topic that we can get into as well. But yeah, I get to see during some of them are coming in just for assessment. Maybe they're not ready to have a baby just yet, but maybe they went to a doctor's visit and a doctor sent them in to get checked out by us. So with other technologies that we can better see what's going on with them. And for some of them we have to keep. For some they may have hoped for vaginal delivery. We do have emergencies where we have to go back in the OR and we do C-sections. And in women's health, even if they're there to have a baby, we may do a C-section, but we may do tubal ligation if they don't want to have any more babies. And in some serious cases, unfortunately, when we have what we call hemorrhage emergencies or postpartum hemorrhages, we have cases where we do have to do hysterectomies, where we remove the uterus to help save their lives. So it can get very serious. It does get very serious. We had a couple of emergencies last week. And I've heard people say, like, when a woman is pregnant, like they are like to death. They can be. And again, it's a very happy place, but at the same time, it can be very risky. So I'm thankful for the great, the smooth deliveries that we have. And then, we do see some interesting things. Yeah. It may have been more than 2 minutes, but that I'm doing now.
No, that was perfect. That was perfect. And I'm excited for you. So, like I shared with the audience, and those who go to Lighthouse know that we are cousins, blood cousins, not fake cousins, not, her dad and my mom were brother and sister. And so we were raised together, the whole nine, right? Crying when we had to leave each other, all of that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Getting in trouble playing church.
But
yes.
Getting in trouble playing church, the whole, everything, Christmas plays, everything, right? But I said all of that to say this, even now that we've reached our 40s, I'm gonna whisper that. Now that we've reached our 40s, right, don't tell nobody. Girl, I look good, and you do too. So,
me too.
But now that we have, right, I still get giddy, I guess is the word. Like when I hear you talk about what you do and when you how much you love what you do. Because it's not a lot of people that get to actually get up every day and do something that they love, right? You hear a lot about people who complain about going to work, complain about their jobs, but when you're able to do something that you love and make money doing it, it just makes me happy and it brings me joy. And I know nothing about the medical field, so I let you and Jamiris have those conversations, but just watching you all have those conversations, it makes my heart smile. I'm like, look at them, all excited about blood
and I mean,
and stuff.
You have to find because I mean, even in the medical field, health in general, I mean, nursing, people hit a common, I want to be a nurse or I want to be a doctor, but there's so many other things that you can do in the health field and a lot of interesting. I've been doing this is my 18th year. It feels strange to say that, but this is my 18th year as a registered nurse, and I love it. Like I said, I've seen so many. I've dealt with several specialties, but definitely a procedural type of person, and it's exciting for me. I've seen people get worse. I've had to, see people unfortunately when they, so being on this end of it with births is definitely great. And it is funny. I was thinking about that the other day too, like how you grow up together, whether it's siblings or cousins, sister cousins, but we go in different directions. We have different interests. Our lives lead us in different careers, but when we get together, I can tell you some stories. I have, and it is great to be able to get up and to be happy about what you do. And even I never, I'm definitely grateful to be a nurse, and I'm glad that's what I chose to do. However, there haven't been times when I've been in an area that maybe I didn't like, or the job site that maybe I didn't like. But if I can give anybody any advice, there's always opportunity. You just got to get up and go get it. You can sit back, wait for things to fall in your lap. Most things don't happen that way. I work worked very hard for in each position I've been in and every, thing I've accomplished. Sometimes I've let fear stop me from trying something new, or sometimes you just get comfortable or thinking like, it's gonna be the same everywhere. But you can't be afraid to change and find your happy. Like seriously, because it's out there.
Yep. Okay, Sister Shonda, that's a whole nother life class. So we're gonna start with hi May May. I see you in the comments. I love you too. We're gonna start with would you rather, and then we'll get into our topic for tonight. All right. So I have 3 would you rather questions. Okay.
I have to answer all
And
3.
you have to answer all 3. And I don't think I need to tell you this. I had to tell your husband this when he was on, but we're gonna behave ourselves tonight, okay? All right. Okay, so first one. Would you rather be able to change the smell of anything or the taste of anything?
Probably maybe the taste of anything, because I don't know, that's an interesting one. What kind of question is that? But what's interesting? If I don't like how something smells, I can hold my nose and still eat it. Maybe. But then if I'm holding my nose, I can't necessarily get all the taste factors going. So I need both of them. Why do I have to choose?
That's the question. I don't know, Shonda.
Just let me. I would like to be able to. I would like to be able to change taste, smell. I can do it, but it needs to taste good to me.
So I'm gonna go with taste as well, because I would just make broccoli taste like cookies and eat that for the rest of my life.
I like
lose
broccoli
30
though.
pounds.
I like broccoli, and I like broccoli with cheese. So that's.
Yeah. I mean, I like broccoli, but if it tastes like ice cream and cookies, I would eat it more often. So I would change the taste. And yeah, just go with that. I think I would keep smells only because. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and with that, when I'm thinking about vegetables, carrots are good for you, and I don't like the way carrots taste. So if I could change the way they taste without taking out the nutrients, because sometimes like to be cooked down for me and butter, and then at that point, what's the point? What's what nutrients are you? So that is one food I would like to change the taste. So yeah, it's a taste thing for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, number 2. Would you see your friend in the comments? I cannot with Larry. I can't. Okay. Nope. No sugar in grits over here. Okay. We love you, Larry, but we don't do sugar in the grits. Okay,
people
number 2.
Born and raised in South Florida, we're not putting sugar in grits.
No. Would you rather have the most epic entrance or the most epic exit when you enter and leave a place?
Oh, the most epic interest, because when I'm coming in, I need to be hyped up. Like your introduction, that got me high. You see my shoulders moving, right? So I needed to talk like the like
Jennifer
Hudson show. The whole spirit, the whole spirit tunnel. Like pump me up, seriously, pump me up. And then if I'm just a total failure, I'll just walk off. Like I'll still have my head hung up if I tried. If you never try, that's the failure and not try. But the fact that you try to get out there and do it despite the fear, despite the sweaty armpits, like you tried to do it, that's a big deal. So yes, give me my epic entrance. I want all the flashers and the confetti. And yeah, pump me up. Maybe I'm good, even if I get out and bum. But at least, I was confident about it. And if I fail, I'll just walk off. Versus you come out kind of and then but you have this exit. Like, why didn't you give us that when you came out?
I agree. And when I'm ready to go, I'm sneaking out. Like, I don't want you to know I left. So
You're not even doing this.
I'm out. When you
You're
turn
not
around,
even
you're
doing
like,
that. Where did she go? What is this?
are we back?
I'm here.
Okay. I know you never left. It's me. It's always me. Okay. All right. So last one. Would you this is a heavy one, okay? Would you rather never feel emotions again or never feel physical pain again?
That is deep or heavy, as you said. Um, uh, physical pain subsides eventually. At least, well, I don't know. Some people have some chronic issues, and it's like, but emotional pain stings. It can, on the bad end. So maybe I want to block off those emotions if I had the choice. I might want to block the emotions.
Okay, I can understand that.
Emotions,
I have a different perspective.
emotions create memories, and they can be good or bad. But I feel like bad emotional trauma can be worse than physical trauma.
Mhm. I don't disagree with that. I still would choose getting rid of physical pain though. For a couple of reasons. One, because I have a very low tolerance for physical pain. And I
And
feel
see, I'm
like,
opposite. Mm-hmm.
yeah, see, I have a low tolerance. You and Jamaris can take it. I can't. A little bit of and I'm out, right? I feel like I have a high tolerance for emotional pain, and I don't even know if that's a thing, but I've been through some stuff, man, right?
Yeah,
So, but I feel
yeah.
like if I cut off,
Mhm.
I feel like if I cut off all emotions, I won't feel the good either. I need some of that to live, right? So I would cut off the physical pain and keep the emotions. But that's
Yeah, I
just
don't
me.
know. Yeah, with it, and I that part I get too, because you want to keep the good, get rid of the bad. If I had the choice just to keep the good and get rid of the bad, I would. But if I have to choose, just like, hey, you can't have both. I don't know. I could walk through life emotionless.
Uh,
Um, Listen, and you know
y'all
what?
don't
And it's also
y'all don't know her, but that's very on brand.
it's the thing, and the thing is, being in the field that I am in, I see a lot, and I've had to
Mm-hmm.
learn, and that's good and bad. Is good because we can't
Mm-hmm.
always. Now, I'll tell you, sometimes when these deliveries happen, or like the baby may not come out what they expected, we not to get into too much, but sometimes babies, you think things are seen on ultrasound throughout the visit, and then the baby is born. It's like, wow, we didn't know that defect was there. But meanwhile,
Yeah.
it's not that I'm emotionless, but
Yeah.
I ball out crying with the parents because that's what they're doing. I have to maintain
Right.
my sense of professionalism and help with the education piece and the next steps piece. So for
Right.
me, and some things I've been through too, and it's hard too, like when you are faced with the death of a loved one, and when I've experienced that head on, and I'm not able to even really pull myself in that moment, and it'll hit me later because it's more of the nurse in me that's coming out in that moment versus like, wow, like this is it, like this person is gone. And then I deal with a lot of the heavy emotional piece, and it hits later for me. So it's not always like right in that moment. Sometimes it is, but it just depends on the situation and how it happens. So I think like because of what I do and how long I've been doing it, that's why it might be kind of easy for me to walk emotionless too. Versus physical pain, I have a high tolerance for it. I had a whole baby with no pain medication, and I just did it, and
Yes, you did.
it
I was
it
there.
passes. I've broken, I've had a broken wrist, and I just sat on the porch. My mom had to come and ask me like what happened? What's going on? Hey, your wrist is swollen. Oh, you know when I cried when they did an X-ray at the hospital and told me it was broken. That's when I cried. But when it happened, I was just like, oh, this hurts. But it wasn't like I was trying to. Yeah. So for me, that's the thing. But yeah, that's an interesting question.
It is. And it's interesting to hear our two different perspectives. I'm going to share this without getting emotional, and I'm going to take 30 seconds to do it, and then I'm going to move because I'm not no punk and I'm not going to cry. But I don't think I've ever shared this publicly. But there were two people in the room that I'd like to describe as ushered my mama to Jesus, and that's you and Beverly. And even as her daughter, I would not have been able to do that. So I'm forever grateful and indebted to you because of that piece alone. And that's it. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay. All right. We're gonna move because I it's ghetto in here, and and we're not gonna cry. Okay. So listen, our topic tonight is staying healthy. So I told you all as the audience that our topic tonight is very practical. And you know, there have been some interesting things happening in the world and in the air and in the things and the stuff and viruses and the 497th strand of COVID and all the things that are going around. So I wanted to bring Shonda on just to talk to us a little bit, because sometimes we need a refresher on what we should be doing, how to stay healthy, what we should be putting in our bodies, what we shouldn't be putting in our bodies. You know, just some practical things that we could talk about tonight for the next few moments, that we can do to kind of help keep ourselves healthy, keep our immune systems going. Gut health is a big thing. All the stuff, right? All the things that we want to just cover some important points for us to remain healthy in this season. Spring is here. So for those of, I'm going to say you, not us, for those of you who have allergies, we want to touch on that too. So we want to just talk a little bit about staying healthy, and what we should be doing in this particular season and the upcoming seasons. We know too, we are going to be approaching summer soon. It's currently spring break for a lot of you all, and people are outside. Like we outside, right? But with being outside comes with being in other people's air and smelling their breath and intaking their germs as well. So we want to talk about that. All right. So I guess let's start with just giving us some general safe practices that we can use if you have some specific how's it going to be specific and general. Okay, if you have some general safe practices we can use for everyday, you know, you know, get up, make sure you floss and brush your teeth, you know, those, the normal stuff. Wash your face. When you get home, take a shower. You've been outside all day, take a shower. Don't just, do the things. But you say the nurse things, not the petty things like me, okay?
That's not petty. I was getting ready to say you've hit some actually makes a thing is huge on the list. Hygiene. That's huge on the list. If you are not brushing your teeth and flossing, washing your face and cleaning your ears and getting all over and all the things. Bacteria does build, and bacteria, you know, that can, when bacteria harbors infections that we don't want. Infections aren't our friends. But, and I'm being serious. So, and with hygiene, we speak a lot about hand hygiene. Hand hygiene is huge. You would be surprised, like even in a hospital setting, we have, for lack of better terms, I'll say shoppers for each department. They're not shopping, so to speak, but they're watching to see if we are practicing hand hygiene before we walk in the room and when we walk out of the room. So we have hand sanitizing stations in front of each patient's room, and inside the room, of course, are sinks. And people come in, you know, the healthcare setting, trusting that healthcare workers are, you know, practicing good hand hygiene. But I could be honest with you and say I've seen some healthcare professionals that don't always practice good hand hygiene, or they may be going from one patient to the next. Even in some of your, it doesn't even have to be, but in a doctor's office, don't be ashamed to, you know, ask, like, you know, can you use hand sanitizer? Or did you wash your hands? We even had buttons at a time that we were told that we had to wear as employees, and it says, "Ask me if I wash my hands." Hand hygiene is a big deal, and I think hand hygiene is a big deal. And I think if we didn't know already, we really got a good taste of it during COVID. I mean, sanitizing was key. We couldn't find sanitizer on the shelves, have alcohol on the shelves, and I want to say that nothing beats, nothing is better than good old soap, because you're getting that good friction and scrubbing. But in between, if you have sanitizer that you can use, that's great. But at a point, you need to be using soap and water to scrub hands, especially if you have household with young folks. Children are amazing, but carry a lot of germs as well, because they're picking them up if they're going to daycare, or if they're in schools, they're around a lot of other kids in small spaces. You have 20 kids in a classroom in public. In daycare setting, they split them up by age a little bit better, so maybe it may not be as much. But if you had to go through raising a young child or putting a young child in daycare or public school system, sometimes you fight a while with them having holes. And, you know, part of it, of course, is helping to build a system. They're young, so they're exposed to a lot. So they may get a cold or a sniffle or cough at the drop of a dime. And it seems like, and I know for me, when my child was much younger, it seems like I was not catching a break. I would have a week free, and then she was catching something again. So it's just a period I had to work through. But even with adults, you'd be amazed the things that we touch, or the surfaces that we touch, and then we scratch our eye, or we, you know, our nose is itching, so we do this. Or in orifices, like a virus or bacteria, it just needs a host. And our openings, that's the way that they get in us. So if it's scratching your eye, but you just touch the grocery cart that the person before you used, and they had a cold, or, you know, and now you touch that same cart, and you put your finger in your mouth. Some people have a tendency, like if they're writing, they might put the tip of an ink pen in their mouth, but it's been in their hand, and whoever else used that ink pen before them. It's just little things that we do that it's just bits that we don't necessarily pay attention to. And it can definitely harbor or bring in ways for us to get sick. And me myself, I'm dealing with allergies now, seasonal. But there are differences between, and I don't know if you prefaced this with a question before, because you were kind of going in and out. So don't let me go too far on a tangent, or just reel me back into what your target was.
I'm sorry. I know you were still talking. I actually could hear you, but I don't know what's going on with my internet over here. But no, that was good. I could hear what you were saying. So okay. So that was cool. So you touched on the children as well, having the children being in and out of daycare, in schools and, them catching things and everything. But I want to shift to this particular question back with adults, because I'm seeing more adults starting to wear masks again out in public and in public spaces. And I just wanted you to touch on that a little bit as well. Are there specific
Okay. I'm not sure if you can still hear me, but I think your question was about masks and adults wearing masks out in public. And there's nothing wrong with that. I would never tell anybody don't wear a mask. For people that already have underlying conditions and they're at a higher of getting into more trouble health wise if they are exposed to what may be a common cold for somebody, but it can actually have them end up in a hospital because they already have an underlying condition where their immunity is already lowered. And there's some people may be fighting with autoimmune um, type of illness, and with a lot of the autoimmune illnesses, they have lower immunity. Something like a common cold or a cough or a sneeze that somebody else can blow off in a week, it may take them 3 weeks, or they may have to be hospitalized, or it may set up infection in the lungs where they get pneumonia. Be worse. It can be worse for them. So, as far as adults wearing masks, I would not. I don't advise against it. If it makes you feel comfortable, by all means do so. Will it help to completely eradicate or keep you from getting anything ever? I would not go as far as to say that, but can it reduce your risk? Yeah. Because reason being, because most, if that's a cold or a flu, which are caused by viruses, those are mostly spread by droplets. So if you're in, especially if you say you're in a workplace and it's close quarters, a lot of people in a small area, or you're in a public in a in a in a public place or at an event, a lot of people around, and if someone's coughing and they're near you or they're sneezing, those droplets, viruses can be carried through that. Or again, if somebody blowing their nose and they actually virus, just allergies or like sinus issues, because when it comes to allergies, that's not contagious. We're talking about colds, which are caused by a virus, a common cold. Flu is a virus that is contagious. So you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself from that. You have somebody in your house that has been diagnosed with the cold or flu is caused by viruses, chances are you're going to get it. Actually, once someone starts to show symptoms, you probably have already been exposed. Again, with the virus. So wearing a mask is a bad idea if you know that you're going to be around a crowd of folks, maybe people that you don't know. If you're sick, if you know that you are not able, not everybody stays home. Again, that's the same reason why to stay on children too long, but parents are working, kids get sent to school sick because they can't call out, they send their child to school, and now it just keeps passed around, and they're not going to school with masks. Most kids aren't. Now I could talk about the adults as well. Maybe they don't have PTO where they can call out or have sick leave, and now they're going to work sick. So, and now all of them are wearing masks at work. So they're sneezing, they're coughing. When I was on my lunch break today, a lady sitting right there just hacking. She's saying it's remnants from something else she had, but I don't know. But it's like, we're gonna sit here through this, put on a mask. And my manager encourages that too. Like if you are coming to work, and even if you don't know, because sometimes we can be bad with that, we will come to work because we're caring for folks, but we shouldn't be caring for folks if we're sick. But during this time, a lot of people have allergies and they may not even realize it, or use environments. Like with me, I just recently changed my environment, found a whole new level of trees, a whole different environment, different people, different. So and it start with a runny nose. It can be an itchy throat. It can be itchy eyes. But a difference that we can look at too between colds and flus with allergies, if you have a runny nose or if you have mucus, it may not present as thick, yellow, or green. It may just be clear. The runny nose constant, or maybe it may get worse in the morning or at night, or you find yourself clearing your throat a lot. The eyes may even redden, but it may not necessarily be pink eye if it resolves in a couple of hours or so. But sometimes the rubbing, or not even, it's just the allergen has found its way inside. You've been exposed to it, outdoor or even sometimes indoor. People, with dust around the house, or even or being outside. We have indoor and outdoor allergies. Some people, and as you get older, your body changes too. You may have been a person that was never sensitive to, you may say, hey, I like outdoors, I never had an issue, and now when I go outside, I can't stop sneezing, or my eyes are itching, my eyes are burning, my throat is itchy. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't hurt to pay a visit to your primary care. Go suggest they can test you, and if you are definitely allergic to something, environmental. And there are over-the-counter medications that can help with that, but unfortunately, it's not just eradicated, and it may be something you have to deal with, and it may change as well. But and wearing a mask, it could help with allergens, to help reduce what you're exposed to through your nose, through your mouth. But at the same time, if you're allergic to something like pollen, that can be on your skin as well. So now, when you're going from being outdoors to indoors, you want to make sure that you're bathing, that you're showering, so that you're getting that what you were exposed to on the outside off your body, because it's on your clothes, it's on your skin, and a lot of this stuff we can't see, or you may not see it, like it's moving around you, so it's so visible. But I also know, like, and I don't know if anybody else's experience, but when you go outside, sometimes you may see a layer of yellow dust on your car. That's pollen from the air. And it increases around this time of year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we have reached the spring season. My husband and I were just in Alabama, and we came out one day, and the car was covered in yellow. And the car that we rented, I think it was black, but it was covered in yellow pollen.
Yeah.
And we were right behind where some trees were. And I don't know that I've ever really seen pollen that thick before on a vehicle or any type of surface. I personally don't suffer really bad with allergies. Occasionally I'll get like a sinus infection or whatever, but not with allergies personally. But with that being said, with not just allergies, but colds, flus, that type of thing, are there any over the counter supplements that you recommend, something that maybe should be taken daily, something we could be, and of course, I know she's going to say this, but consult with your physician, right? So we're not prescribing anything. Um, but is there anything that, oh, it's good if you, eat an apple a day or whatever, whatever the thing is, that we should be maybe paying attention to, doing something we should be doing daily? Any suggestions?
So
like
yeah, so I'll say this, and you said it, but I have to say it for myself as well. Anything that we discuss here, this is not any type of prescriptive. If you are deciding to use this is information. We are sharing information. This is supposed to be informative, giving you education on some things that you may have already known, or we may be enhancing your information, and you may learn something that you didn't know. But anytime you're introducing something new into your diet or into your medication regimen or your supplement regimen, it's always recommended you need to see your physician. If you don't have a primary physician, you need to get one, so that you could be followed up on. That goes from everybody from young. So if you consider the child, infant, child, adolescent, young adult, older adult, you need to have a primary physician. A whole nother conversation also, but I wanted to put that out there because some people don't have a primary physician and they use the ER as their primary care place, and that's not what it's for. You need to have someone following you. The ER should not be used as a primary site. Oh, I'm not feeling good. I need to go to primary care. I need to go to the ER. If it gets severe, of course, you're going to go to the ER. But point is, if you have a little cold, you shouldn't be going to the ER. That's something you can go to. If you have a primary care physician in place, they can give you something maybe to help with the symptoms. So again, always consult your physician before you introduce anything new, especially if you have chronic underlying conditions like hypertension, diabetes, any other type of chronic illnesses that you may be dealing with, arthritis, pain conditions that you're on opioid medications for, pain medications. Reason being is some of these over-the-counter meds, whether they're for cold or they're said to help with the flu or even allergy medications, some of them can interact poorly with medications that you may already be on that's prescribed by your physician. And when I say interact poorly, maybe you're on a medication for your blood pressure and you take a certain supplement and it may bring your blood pressure down even further because you're also taking your blood pressure medication, or you're diabetic, so you take metoprolol or you do insulin injections, and maybe you shouldn't buy that particular cold medication because it may make your blood sugar go up. So these are things that you need to know and things that you need to discuss with your physician before you start introducing anything new, and make sure that you're always keeping an updated medication list and supplement list. When you are seeing your physician, when you are going to the hospital, when we ask about things like, are you on any prescribed medications? Don't only think the things that are that a physician may have told you need to take, but if you're taking anything over the counter that you just started going to CVS and buying yourself, or you went to Whole Foods, or you went to the Jamaican nutrition store, and you're taking a supplement, and don't get me wrong, there are a lot of great herbal things that we can take that will help to lower blood pressure or help to lower blood sugar. They've been shown to be effective. But when you decide that you're going to do that, you need to let your physician know, because you don't want to exaggerate the response of a medication that they have you on too. Also, if you've taken yourself off the medication that they prescribe, they need to be aware. You should have open communication. If you're on a physician that you can't communicate with, that's a problem. So you may need to seek out another one. And I will say, as far as supplements or things that we can, there are things that we can do, but I want to preface, before I get into a list of things, I do want to preface this by saying these things will not keep you from getting a cold or keep you from getting the flu or cure a cold or cure the flu. So cold and flu, as I was differentiating between the allergies early, cold and flu are contagious. Cold and flu are caused by viruses. Viruses they need a host to thrive, and us being the host, or even animals, we heard bird flu, swine flu. So animals get flu just as well as we. It's different types of flus, and it's all different types of strains. So you can get a flu vaccine yearly, right? But that doesn't mean that, oh, I'm not going to get the flu because I got the vaccine. You may still get, because you may get a strand that vaccine didn't cover. And even with the strands that the vaccines cover, they're different subsets. So what that helps is that, so you don't, even if you get it, maybe it doesn't become deadly for you. That's the hope. So I want to say that about supplements and taking this, and different things we can do too. We can boost our immune system, and it's great. You want to do things to boost your immune system. So not only by taking supplements, but reducing stress, getting enough sleep, getting enough exercise, things that we put into our body that may be bad. We want to limit those things. Everything in moderation. Okay. So again, by taking supplements, by getting a good exercise, these are immune boosters, meaning that when your body is infected with something viral, whether it's a cold or the flu, it won't be as detrimental versus someone who has a compromised immune system or very lowered immunity, and they're not able to fight it off. So I used the example before. Somebody may get a common cold that they call, Jazz and I used to play together when we were little. If she got a cold, and if I got a cold, we're both healthy. Maybe we fought it off in about 3 to 5 days or 7 days the most. But somebody else, say we were playing with another kid that they have a compromised immune system, it may put them in the hospital. So with supplements, again, it's not going to keep you from, it's not going to say, oh, I take all my vitamin D, I take vitamin C every day, I use elderberry, on echinacea, all of this, I never get colds. You may have been exposed to a virus, but your symptoms weren't exaggerated, or they didn't last long enough or cause you distress because you are immune boosting, which is great. So vitamin C, people tend to think about that, right? But when I hear people talk about it, they're already sick. So they already have the sore throat. They already have the cough. They already have the green mucus. They already have all of that. And they're taking emergency, right? So why are you laughing? So it's not that it's a bad thing to do, but you probably want to just put that in your regimen prior to you being sick, and especially during this season. So flu season, or we say cold and flu season, and it's really a shame, like, and it just shows you how the world is changing, the environment is changing, the climate is changing. Flu season used to be shorter. Over the years, over the past 5 to 10 years, it's gotten longer. So we started earlier and we ended later. So I remember it didn't carry over into the following year. Or if it did, it was like it cut off in January, February. So know, places up north, they still have winter. South Florida, we're not really having a whole full out winter, so it's hotter here. Um, but we start
Right.
flu season in October, and it's carrying on into May. So before, we used to cut off months before then. And even in the hospital, when we have patients coming in, it's a question we ask, have you received the flu vaccine? If you haven't, would you like to receive it? But we start offering that like in October, and we may typically cut off like the end of March, like 31st or so, because now you got like 2 months left. Or again, here in South Florida, it's not cold longer. And the reason I'm mentioning winter is because in places that get really cold, people are usually indoors for longer periods of time, and they may be in close quarters with other folks, and so it's easier to catch colds and flu. Uh, but yeah, so again, going back to the supplements, vitamin C is good, vitamin D is good, zinc is good as well. Probiotics to help keep a healthy gut and keep down bacteria. And then talking about bacteria, right? That's another thing. Some people think when they get a cold or a flu, like, oh, I need an antibiotic. Antibiotics help to treat bacterial infections. Viruses, which cause cold, which are cause the common cold as well as flu. Antibiotics are not really um, effective with treating it because they're made to bacterial infections. They're not made to treat viruses. Now there are some antiviral medications out there that
Right.
have been prescribed for the flu, such as Tamiflu. With that, if you it's like when you first know you've been exposed to someone, or you start feeling it like within 48 hours or so, you need that, or it's not going to be effective. Viruses are self-limiting. Remember I said they need a host. So they live inside of you, but after a while they try to do what they want to do and wreak havoc and have a party inside of you, and then they'll die off eventually. So typically you're looking at between 7 and 10 days. When you get that 10-day mark, you see it's been 2 weeks, or you're in the 7 and 10 day period and you're not getting better, you're getting worse. You need to consider going in and seeing somebody, a medical professional. You need to go to urgent care, or you need to go to your primary to see what it is. Because if your symptoms get worse, other things can start to happen. And that's when we talk about secondary infections. So you may have started off with a cold, but now it's turned into pneumonia, or now it's turned into a sinus infection, or now you have an ear infection. So those are the things that antibiotics can help. Antibiotics can help treat ear infection. Antibiotics can help treat sinus infections or pneumonia, because those are caused by bacteria. So they can put you on a strong antibiotic to treat those. But the overuse of antibiotics in the United States is bad, because when we're using them incorrectly, we get what we call resistance. So now we have all these different strands of viruses, and they're just becoming strong. They're fighting back, and they're getting in us. We put antibiotics, and they're laughing like, I like this. This is good, and I'm going to continue partying right up in you, and nothing's going to happen. So I used to live with you for 7 days. Now I live with you for 14 days, and now you're feeling bad. So the over-the-counter medications such as Advil, colon sinus, to name a few, or Tylenol, flu, whatever, it's not going to cure what you have going on. What it's going to do is help you cope with the symptoms. So you may find
Symptoms.
something
Yeah.
that helps to alleviate you of your sore throat, but that doesn't mean you cure your cold. The virus is still in you. It's something
Right.
that helps open up your
Right.
nasal passageway so you can sleep at night and breathe. It doesn't mean you've cured your cold or cured the flu. The virus is still in you. It's self-limiting. So it has to go away on its own, and eventually it will. But if taking those helps you get through your day, because again, we go back to talking about exercise and sleep and all of this stuff, you still need to get through your day. Some of those over the counters do help with that. Some other natural things I mentioned elderberry, I think before. Elderberry turmeric is great for as an anti-inflammatory. So sprinkle a little turmeric in the food that you're eating. That's just great in general. You may see decrease in inflammation. Garlic, ginger, honey, and make sure if you get in honey, you're getting like true honey, not the honey with the sugar in it. So, and that brings me to staying away from certain things. We know that too much sugar is bad, 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 bad. Too much sugar, too much fatty foods, alcohol, smoking, all those things bring down your immune system. Okay, if your immunity is lowered, those viruses, they want to party with you for 7 to 10 days. They're going to want to stay longer because they're like, hey, she's weak or he's weak. We can hang out here and proliferate. And then when we leave, we're going to go tell a friend, and then they're going to come. And they're a different strand of the virus. So you're going to feel even worse when you get that. So when you're sick, that's the wrong time to further dampen your immune system by eating sugary foods, by drinking, by smoking, by doing all of those things that don't do good for your immunity anytime. But when you're sick, you definitely don't want to do those things. You want to nourish your body with things like chicken broth. If you're a meat eater, chicken, beef, because they have zinc. Seafood, you can look at oysters. I'm saying oysters, mussels. Because I was trying to say mussels and oysters at the same time, but oysters, mussels, salmon, tuna. So those are fatty fish. Like they're good with omega-3 fatty the oils. So if you're gonna have oils or fats, those are good to get them from that type of seafood. Speaking of vitamin D, so you know that vitamin D, like if we're out and unfortunately, I'll say in the Black community, we tend to have low vitamin D levels. All right. And it's a lot because of like the melanin. So the melanin in our skin. So folks that are more heavily melanated than others, or are more darker complexion than others, are not going to absorb the UVB rays that come from the sun that actually transform what's already in us. We already have the precursors for vitamin D in us, but it's the UVB rays from the sun that help to transition that into what it needs to be to help with our immunity. But and then it's like you're fighting against a rock and a hard place because you don't want to be in the sun too long. And yes, we still need to wear sunscreen too to protect yourself. But when you're wearing sunscreen, that sunscreen can also block those rays that you need to help transition and transform that precursor in us to vitamin D that we need. So it's kind of hard to play with. That's why a lot of us end up on vitamin D supplements because when we have blood drawn, it'll show that we have low vitamin D levels. But there are some foods that are fortified with vitamin D: milk, orange juice, cereals, and there may be some other ones. I can't even think of it right now. I said milk, orange juice, cereals. There are some foods, and usually it's on the label. It'll say vitamin D fortified, and that's helpful too. If you have picky eaters or you have folks that say, "Hey, well, I don't want to swallow vitamin D pill or whatever it is." But again, these are things you could talk to with your physician. If you haven't had labs done, you should at least be having a baseline of lab work done each year if you're going to see your primary care physician, and you can see what areas you're low in and what supplements you may need and what they may recommend. I feel like I just said a lot, Jazz.
It was, but it was good.
Okay.
It was good. It wasn't too much. You did good. Nurse got about it. You did good. Okay. So uh so we have a question in the comments, and then I have one last question before we go. So this one is When having a cold, the cough is always the last to go. Is there anything over the counter we can use to get rid of it, or should we go to our primary doctor?
Okay, so it depends, and I understand exactly what you're talking about because I've been through that. And depending on what viral strain of whatever it is that we've had, whether it's been COVID, whether it's been the flu, whether it's just been a common cold, and sometimes you don't know because if you haven't gone to a doctor and been swabbed, that's the only way you really know what you have. They can swab you for flu, and they can tell you which strain of the flu you had, influenza A, influenza B. They can tell you if you have COVID. They can tell you, if it's rhinovirus. And rhinovirus is one of the most common viruses that is the cause of the common cold. There are others, but we see mostly if you swab rhinovirus. So anyway, those can leave lingering effects such as a cold. And that can happen just because of the symptoms that come along with having that cold or having that virus. Your mucous membranes that we have all throughout our body, and definitely in our esophageal and our trachea area, it's been irritated through the length of time that you had that. So now it's trying to recoup. Your cells are trying to, renew. You're going through that. So it may linger. You need to make sure that you're staying hydrated. That's a big deal because when you're dry, your body, and you don't have enough, you're trying to get back to where you were. So you need to stay hydrated, extra hydration. So you're a person that say, well, I drink a lot of water, drink some more. And hydration doesn't always have to be water. There are other things that we can drink too that are hydrating. Stay away from juices that are too sugary. Sometimes too much. Orange juice is good, but sometimes too much. You got to watch the sugar. Watch the sugar. Apple juice is good, but watch the sugar. So even coconut water is good for some people, and I'm just trying to put that out there because some people just like, I don't like plain water. But you need to stay hydrated. If you're drinking things like Pedialyte or Gatorade, those are helpful too to help increase your electrolytes. But depending on how long, I don't know what the length of time you speak of when you're saying it's been lingering, but you will know for yourself too, like, hey, I need to go see somebody. I've been dealing with this cough for the past month, or I've been dealing with this cough for the past 3 weeks. Typically, we say when it's getting past 2 weeks and it's not changing or it's getting worse, you need to go and get seen by a medical professional and let them give you, their recommendations as far as what you can do, because it could be something else going on and you just don't know. So they need to make recommendations. Do you need to have some type of imaging done, a scan done? Do you need to have some blood work done? Is there an underlying infection, or at this point we'll call it a secondary infection that's been caused by the virus that was there that you need to get checked out and maybe need to work on that? Because sometimes we find things that are over the counter that help, but it can all be masking a bigger problem. So you don't want to ignore it if you know that it's getting worse. And if you find yourself a month has gone by and you're still drops, or you're still, using what's it, chloroseptic spray or something like that with this sore throat and this cough, or you're still taking cold or cough medicine, Robitussin, you shouldn't be on that for a month. Like, that's a problem. So you need to see somebody.
Yeah. I haven't had a really bad cold in some time, but the last time I had a really bad cold, the cough was lingering, and it was more than 2 weeks. So I went to the doctor, and I had bronchitis.
You see?
So I had gotten healed from the cold, and then got bronchitis.
Yeah. And that was secondary to that cold. And that's the thing. And you would have known if you would have just laid around on it or ignoring it or saying it would get better. And yeah. I see a comment. I don't know if you saw that, but that's very good too. And thank you for mentioning that. So pineapple, fresh ginger, and hot tea. And I mentioned ginger earlier. I didn't pineapple, but yes, these natural shots. If you have a juicer at home, that is great. Get you some ginger, get you some pineapple, mix fresh fruits. We have a lot of stuff just right here on earth we can use and don't need certain prescriptions. And I got to be careful with saying that because certain conditions, again, follow recommendations of your doctor. Don't just stop your medications. But as far as trying to be healthy along the way and not waiting until you get sick to say, oh, I'm going to do something about this, because at that point, it's already in you. But if you try to build your immunity up, if you're taking ginger shots, turmeric shots, if you're able to do that at home and make your own, that's great. Sometimes Publix have them 2 for $5. I get them. That's great.
Yeah, that's good. So my very last question, and then we're going to close. And you touched on this a little bit, even with answering this previous question. But are there any specific symptoms that we should look at as alarming? So, like, I got a fever, that's alarming, or I have, we talked about the cough. We talked, what is there anything specifically that you would say if you have this? Make sure you don't wait. Go to the primary, or whatever you recommend, whatever it is you recommend.
Yes. So thank you for mentioning fever. And I'm glad you use it in those terms. And I just want to tell everybody that's listening and tell a friend as well. That's the term that you should be using. I have a fever. What defines a fever? Most often, so our normal body temperature is usually like 98.6 Fahrenheit, but that can vary with people, and it can definitely vary with women, because our menstrual cycles definitely impact what our temperature might be. You also may find your temperature is lower in the morning and higher in the evening. But if you have other symptoms going on and you indeed have a fever, like I don't like when people say, oh, I'm running a temperature. We all run in the temperature because we live and we breathe and we got blood running through our veins. What you want to know is, what is that temperature with the number? How do we assign a number to it? We use a thermometer. We check the temperature. And I'm saying that a lot. You have people, they don't have a thermometer in their household. So they're doing this. They're doing this. They're doing this. That's not telling us much. We need to know a number. And it's a good practice to have a thermometer in your household. If you have a child, you need to have a thermometer. It should have been on your baby shower list, because you need a thermometer in your household. So when you can check the temperature, you'll know if it's out of range or not. And God is so wonderful. Like the way He made our body, like He forget about anything. And actually, when we are running a high fever, that's body, the way He made it, trying to fight off that little booger that got in us that's trying to take us down. Okay, so our body heats up real good because it's trying to burn it out. So it's not all the way bad, but it's just uncomfortable for us. So we try to break it down, or to break our fever, as we say. However, again, with our wonderful bodies that He made, we do need to be cognizant that a fever that's too high can cause other issues and can cause, damage if we let it happen too long. And especially in kids, we have to be mindful of that. When a fever gets absolutely too high, in adults, I'm talking like a fever that's 103 or 104. But we actually define fever at 100.3. Typically, we can take things like Tylenol or ibuprofen, which those, and acetaminophen is a generic for Tylenol, ibuprofen generic for Motrin or Advil, any of that. Those are all ibuprofen, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. So it will indeed break a fever. But we want to pay attention to that, because if you are continuing to have a fever 2 or 3 days or all day long and it's not going down and you can't get it down, that's alarming. You shouldn't be going past 2 days and you have a high temperature. And when I say high, like 103, 102, and it's been like that consistent for 2 days, and nothing you're taking is making it go down, you want to know what is the cause, because it may not be definitely not the common cold. Typically, like with the flu, and that's another thing, when the body aches, the head aches, you don't typically get that with the common cold. And then if you have a fever that's not going away, it may be something else going on, like bacteria, that you need to be aware of, something else that's brewing up. And the body's trying to tell you that it's working the way it should. And that's why you're heating it should. You said something else that may be alarming. So we talked about fever, but also if you're coughing and you're having chest pain, they'll go away. You're having pressure in the chest. You're having chest pain that radiates around under the breast sac, under the breastbone, to one side, one in the next. These are things we need to pay attention to. You shouldn't be having chronic chest pain that way. You need to go and get checked out. Have somebody listen to your heart. Have them listen to your lungs to see there may be something else going on there. You want to be cognizant of that. If you're coughing and you're coughing up blood, if your mucus is, you have clots of blood coming out, these are things that are not what we consider normal symptoms of a common cold. You shouldn't be coughing up blood. You shouldn't be vomiting blood, because some people get sick, and it with adults sometimes you don't see it with a common cold, but with some kids vomiting can follow along with the common cold. But when it gets to the point where those colors, we're seeing colors of, like red, like bright greens and yellows, those are concerning things. Chest pain, I mentioned, high fever that hasn't gone down even with medication. These things are alarming. And we want to get checked out.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I hope you guys were taking notes. And we say this a lot in life class, but we may need to do a part 2, part 3, part 4, and kind of dive deeper into some of these areas, so we can, kind of learn what we need to do to get ahead of some of this stuff. Sometimes or a lot of times there are illnesses that are preventable if we just have the right information. And a lot of times we just aren't educated in certain areas, so we don't know that what we're doing is contributing to us getting a cold every year, or whatever. So this was good. Thank you, Shonda. Thank you, cousin Shonda.
Welcome. Rest, sleep. You gotta rest. You gotta sleep. And I'm preaching to myself too. That's why I got loud, because I don't get enough of it. That breaks you down when you're not exercising, when your body is not strong, when you're not getting enough rest. As adults, we need 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and most of us are not getting it. That's when we're resting. That's when our cells are renewing. That's when our body is being real. We have to rest, and a lot of us don't. We're stressed out. Our minds are stressed out. Stress increases cortisol in high levels for periods of time. It works down. It pushes down on the immune system. And I'm not talking about fight or flight, like you're just scared for the moment, or you got stress, and then it's over in a week. But people that live stressful lives, and it's like, if you could just find a way to knock it down, get some rest, decrease the stress, big immune booster in that alone.
Yeah, that's good. Reducing stress and sleep. We take for granted how much sleep does for us. It helps with weight loss. Even as singers, I talk a lot to singers about sleep. I get this question a lot, like, what do I do for a horse, for hoarseness? Sleep. And when I tell people that, they're like, huh? Go home and go to sleep. And when you wake up, your voice will be back in a lot of cases, because we sing, and we don't rest. And then our body can't, heal itself and regenerate itself. So, yes. So this was awesome. This was awesome. And I'm so glad that we were able to have this conversation. I hope that you all who are watching, that you learned something, and that you're going to take something and implement something. Make sure you go see your primary care physicians. You get your blood work done, you get your checkups, and do all the things so that we can live long and prosper, right? We want to make sure that we are here to see the next few generations take on the world. So we want to take care of our bodies so that we can do that. So thank you again for being here, Shonda. I appreciate it. And thank you all. And thank you all for being with us tonight. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this conversation. And if you enjoyed this life class tonight, there's still time to share it with someone, even after we're off. Send the link to somebody and tell them, hey, you need to watch this and gain this information so that we can all be better together. So even as it relates to ministry, I know we didn't talk much about, church and stuff tonight, but even as it relates to ministry, when we take care of our bodies, we are able to complete our spiritual assignments as well, because we'll have the physical stamina to do so. So we want to make sure that we do that as well. All right. So listen, we're going to close for tonight, but before we do, we are going to, well, first, let me say this. Our next life class will be next month, 4th Wednesday, April 23rd. We'll be back here at 7 p.m. For life class again next month. And then before we close, we want to offer you the opportunity to give. So they're going to put the ways to give on the screen so that you all can take a moment to do so if you would like to do that. The ways to give are there on the bottom of the screen. I want to thank not just Shonda again, but for all of you who are watching, all of you who continue to support this Life Class platform. Thank you so very much. So very much for being here, for watching, for sharing, for being a part, for even those of you who, pull me off to the side periodically and tell me how much you enjoy Life Class and offer some topic suggestions. I appreciate all of your support for this particular platform. All right. I love you all. I want you to have a great week, a great rest of this month. We're already almost in April. So have a great rest of the month. Enjoy yourselves. Take care of yourselves. And we'll see you next time right here for Life Class at 7 p.m. next month. All right. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Lord, you're so amazing. I just can't explain it. I'm so grateful for your love.
Wait a minute, bring that back.
Lord, you're so amazing. I just can't explain it. I'm so grateful for your love, yeah. How you came and saved me, cleansed me and forgave me. I'm so thankful for your love, yeah.
Lord, you came and changed my life. You took my wrong and you made it right. Yeah.
Let's go.
Lord, I've got something I've been meaning to say. Thank you. I want to say thank you. Oh, yeah. It's by your grace that I am here today. Thank you. I want to say thank you.
Lord, you're sweeter today than the day before. And there's nothing like your love, yeah.
Now that I come to know you, I can relax my mind and enjoy myself.
And I can never get enough of your love, yeah. Love, yeah.
You came along and you changed me.
Came along,
Gave me new life. And now I am free. Lord, I've got something I've been meaning to say. Thank you. I want to say thank you.
Whoa.
It's by your grace that I am here today.
I am here
Thank
today.
you. I want to say thank you.
Thank you. Through the good and bad, whether I'm happy or sad, every day, every night, when I look over my life, you never left me alone. Even when I did wrong, I got it. Lord, you gave me another chance. You didn't have to do it, but you did.
Lord, I've got something I've been meaning to say. Thank you. I want to say thank you. It's by your grace that I am here today. Thank you. I want to say thank you.
Lord, say thank you. Every day of my life, I got it. No matter what comes, I got it. Through the heartache and pain, storm and the rain, you've been so good to me. I got it. I got it. Oh, you all I need. Done so much for me. Yeah.
That feel good, y'all.
King.